I have a full guide for you guys today on how to design your own t-shirts in Photoshop and Illustrator and also order test prints. And if you watch the entire video, I really think you're gonna get a lot of value out of this. Before we get into the video, I wanna give a huge shout out to Gelato for making this video possible. Without them, this video wouldn't be a thing. I'll break down a few reasons why I really like Gelato. The first one is they are global. So they work in 33 different countries, which is great for those people that wanna create custom products and ship worldwide. They have you covered and they print locally. So let's say I'm the customer and I order something in California. Gelato is going to find the closest print shop to where I'm located, so they produce it locally. That way it gets to me faster. They also have some of the fastest ship times in the industry, which is pretty cool. These are all things to think about when you're starting a print-on-demand business, although that's a different topic for a different video, but it's important to know how fast your orders are gonna get to your customers and where they're being printed. And if you can work on a global scale, that's going to benefit you, obviously. So yeah, with that out of the way, let's dive into Photoshop and start designing. For the first design, I wanted to make it spooky, and I was gonna surprise my wife with this one. By the way, I'm gonna show her reacting to this at the end of the video. But yeah, I found the images, I imported them into Photoshop, and this hand just looks so cool with the eyeball, and I thought that was like perfect for like kind of the thing she's into, especially with Halloween around the corner. It just made sense. I can never find enough fonts for my project, so I went and looked for even more fonts. Oh yeah, and that was a little sneak peek of the design after this. But yeah, I found the fonts and yeah, it just worked. And I was hoping it worked, because if it didn't, I'd be screwed and I'd have to go back. But now I'm just creating these like really simple shapes. So I'm starting with an oval, kind of to resemble more of like a picture frame. And I knew that I wanted to place these images inside of that oval with clipping masks. So I'm just typing some text around the oval now to start kind of building my composition out. I knew that I wanted to like put palm reading or something above the oval. And it was all like kind of just riffing off of whatever's in my head. And I really had no plan. That's the thing. I had no plan going into this. I just knew that it needed to be spooky and it needed to be cool for this video, and that my wife obviously has to like it, which I really hope she does. But yeah, so I'm thinking about what I'm gonna place on this oval, and I was starting to like really overcomplicate it, and then I just ended up deleting it all and put palm reading or something like that. So it ended up working out at the end. And real quick, I just wanna go over type on a path again, because I know I briefly went over it, but type on a path just allows you to literally type on any path. When you create something like an oval shape, you'll see a faint blue line, and that's how you know you can type on that path. That little line that you see is actually the path. So it's a really easy way to just add text around anything, really. It was time to focus on my actual composition, and I initially made this lady, we'll call her the witch lady. I made her really big and put her in the center of everything, but I realized really quickly that that wasn't a good enough composition. So what I ended up doing was reevaluating basically my existence. No, I'm just kidding, but I ended up just using the other photo with the palm and the eye as the main piece, the main center point. And then I used her hand with a knife separately. So sometimes it's okay to like separate images or cut certain pieces out to use in your composition. And then obviously I changed the text, the font, and everything like that. And this was all temporary because I ended up changing this again. Now all I had to do is really just use my pen tool to start cutting out certain areas to overlap it to create some depth. And if you guys don't know this, whatever's on top on the layers palette is going to be on top of everything. So I use that to my advantage in order to create depth. Oftentimes what I'll do is I'll take an image and I'll duplicate it more than once so I can use that second copy to place above everything on the layers palette. Then I end up doing my cuts, because that way obviously I have an extra copy that's laying above everything, and then I have the main copy that's under things. It just creates that illusion of depth. Again, what I've been talking about. And as you can see, it's actually working for me now, because I have the fingers popping out of the frame and then other parts inside the frame. Once again, I'm changing the font, what I do all the time. I can never make up my mind, but I ended up landing on a font that I really liked, and I changed it to Palm Reader instead of Bullshit Reader. I obviously was messing around when I put that, but ended up looking pretty cool. I stuck with it, and that's sometimes what you have to do. You have to kind of commit to a change and just try it out, see it through. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but in this case, it worked for me.
Everything's gonna be alright.
So now we're back to the other photo, but I didn't want to use every part of this photo. I really just wanted her hand with the knife because I was thinking how cool would it look to have that palm, the eye, and like all these little hands coming out from behind the palm. I just thought it would look cool and also be kind of creepy and weird, which is obviously the point of this design. And I wanted people to see it on a shirt and be like, what the hell, that is crazy looking. And obviously spark some reaction. So that's what I was going for. I'm using the pen tool to cut it out. Once again, very tedious, takes a long time, but if you really want nice cutouts, you have to take your time, and that's what I'm doing right here. After going over my composition, I decided that I wanted to add something to the bottom left, so I ended up just opting in to go for some like text. But yeah, I mean, there's so many different things I could have done right there, but I'm really happy with the way this turned out.
You know what to do. Where do we go from here? Don't let it rule you. Everything's gonna be alright.
I added some stars in the background to fill up some space and then added a classic filter gallery effect that I use in all my videos pretty much. So if you're wanting to know how to do that, you could just go watch my other videos and learn really fast. But yeah, I needed some color in this, so I ended up using a gradient map to add that color into the design. What gradient maps do is they essentially map to shadows, midtones, and highlights, all the tones in your image, and you can have fun changing those tones to any color you want. So for example, I can add green to the midtones or purple to the highlights. You can really just do whatever you want. A great example of the highlights would be the brightest parts of the image that you see in the palm here. So once you start seeing me pump color into the highlights, you can see where it's affecting the image. It's just a really interesting and fun way of adding color, so definitely try it out. Needless to say, I was very happy with this design and I wanted to see what it looked like on a shirt before I do a test print, so I decided to mock it up. And I do that with every single design just to get a feel for what it might look like printed. Now let's hop into Adobe Illustrator and make another design. For this next design, I wanted to do something with Seinfeld for so long, and basically instead of saying Seinfeld, I wanted it to say anxiety, because I have a lot of anxiety in my life, not gonna lie. So I just had this idea of taking that logo and doing sort of like a parody, if you will. And what I did is I took a screenshot of the original logo and I used What the Font to find a font that was similar. And I took that same screenshot and imported it into Adobe Illustrator so I can start kind of mimicking it in a way. I don't know what it is with me and ovals today, but I'm using another oval. It just so happens the Seinfeld logo has an oval in the background. So hey, I can't do anything about that. Obviously we don't want to copy it exactly, right? Like I can't use the same font and all that stuff, but using a different font and changing up the wording, you could get away with using this kind of stuff. So again, you don't want to copy it exactly. You will get sued, trust me. But if you change it up enough, you can use it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that personally. I still want people to easily recognize this as a Seinfeld logo. So I'm creating a color palette on the top left with squares. And all I'm doing is color picking that screenshot that we have. And it's okay to change the colors up a little bit, but if you want something to resemble something else, it's probably best to keep the same general colors. I'm sure there's gonna be people watching this that are gonna be so mad about this, but I don't really care, to be honest with you. This design was so easy. I had a reference, right? So it's not that hard to just kind of look at it and know what to do. We have the oval in the background, we have the text in the front. Super, super simple. I would say the main thing besides the font that was really important to keep the same was that eye, because that eye has an upside down triangle and we needed to keep that. And again, the font was also like kind of a big deal because if it looked too different than the original, it was not going to sell the effect of being the Seinfeld logo. I took it into Photoshop to texture it, which is something I do a lot. I just find Illustrator not that great for texturing, so I use Photoshop for it. But you could do honestly anything you want. I love the way this turned out though. I wanted to quickly go over how to properly save your designs for print, especially if you're doing DTG printing like me, which stands for direct to garment printing. You want to have a transparent background, and when I design, I always keep that in mind, so I made sure to not include the background in my final design. As you can see, my background is completely separate from my actual design. Once that's all done, all you have to do is go up to File, Save As, and save it as a PNG or even a PDF in some cases. It really depends on the print on demand company that you're going through. But I will say most use the same exact file formats. Bonus tip for you guys, make sure you crop your design before saving. You don't want any extra padding around your design. Now let's use Gelato to add products to your store and also order a test print. First thing you want to do is head over to the link in the description below so you guys can get the discount when you sign up. Gelato.com, guys, this is where it all begins. And this integrates with so many different amazing e-commerce platforms, my favorite being Shopify, Squarespace, and Etsy. You can use any of these though. And I'm gonna sign in because I already have an account. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is connect your store. Without that, you can't even upload products, so make sure you connect your store first. I've already done that, and this is connected to my Shopify. Once that's done, you can create a product by clicking this button right here. You're gonna wanna choose which store you wanna add this product to. I wanna add mine to the Shopify store, so we're gonna click Add Product next to the Shopify logo. Next, choose which product you wanna create. I'm just gonna create a basic t-shirt. Let's go ahead and go with this premium unisex crew neck t-shirt from Bella Canvas. Next, we can upload all of our files, which I've already done. I'm gonna select the anxiety design we just made, and now that it's on the mockup, I can click and drag it wherever I want and even resize it. You might wanna change the mockup color, which you can also do right here by clicking on product on the far left bar. There's so many different colors to choose from, so definitely have fun messing with these. Once you add your extra colors, you can see them on the right under variants. So if we click on it, you'll see the mockup change, which is kind of cool. So we have a athletic heather, a dark gray heather, and then we have black. Once you're done with this, you can click the blue button on the top right, which says continue to mockups. Here's where you can choose what mockups you want on your website, and they have a plethora of options here, which is pretty cool. And yeah, you don't have to choose any of them if you don't want to. You can just create your own mockups or choose theirs. It's really up to you. Under details, you can change the title of your product, the description, and even attach a size table. And one of my favorite things is attach care instructions. This will show your customers how to properly take care of their garment once they receive it in the mail. Next is the prices, which is going to be really important for setting your profit margins. This is going to be the determining factor for how much profit you're going to make per item sold. And then you can just click publish, which I'm not going to do right now, but that is how you do it. If you want to order a test print, all you have to do is go back to the main menu here and click product catalog. Similar to adding a product to your store, all you have to do is click on the product you want to create. Let's go ahead and do the same exact product. Unlike before, this is not going to add it to our store. This is actually going to allow us to create a test print. So again, we're placing our art, and then under product, we can still choose the color that we want to print. Only this time, we're going to have to print each color separately because again, this is a test print. So we want to select the color that we want to see on the test print. In this case, I'm going to select white. Make sure you select the right color and shirt size. I'm going to select a large for the shirt size, then go to the top right and click add to order. This menu is really important because this is right before you're going to place your order. So you want to double check the shirt size, the shirt color, and then also the graphic if you want to, and then even select the quantity that you want. Now let's continue to shipping. I didn't want to show you guys my personal information because then I would dox myself, but yeah, continue on with your shipping and your payment information. It's Charley paying us from the future, and I forgot to remind you guys that you get 50% off your first order at Gelato using my code. It's what? We updated the code to Charley paying us 50, all caps. That's a great deal, not gonna lie, but yeah, I'm gonna let Charley paying us from the past keep talking, all right? Once you submit your order, they're gonna print it and send it to you, and guess what? I have mine right here. They just arrived, and it's time to show my wife them and see what she thinks.
Let's see. Oh, heck yeah. That looks so good.
So what do you think about Gelato so far?
I like them. That
Pretty
was
good,
so
huh?
fast. You got these really fast. You just ordered this. Yeah.
Good job, Gelato.